Hi, Laura.
Derek! How are you?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
It's so good to see you.
Same here.
You're looking very good.
Thank you very much. You always look good yourself.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. So you and I are connecting today to talk about
Yes,
SCHH.
exactly.
And you and I first became aware of each other quite a while ago now, wasn't it? Around maybe a year or two, a couple of years?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we both trained in QHHT and we were off practicing and we became aware of each other. And then we started chatting and we've kind of stayed in contact for the past couple of years, haven't we?
Thank goodness.
And you always send me these amazing videos of where you live because you live out in South Africa and it's just gorgeous. And you always send me these amazing videos of the beach and the sea and the mountains. And I'm sat here in the UK going, oh God, I so wish I was there.
And today's also a beautiful, lovely, warm day. I mean, we're in winter.
Yeah. So, and it's still warm in winter.
Yeah, it's 18 degrees today here.
Wow. I just can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine what that's like. You're
It
so
does snow.
lucky.
It was supposed to snow last week. Then they thought it might snow this week, but it hasn't snowed yet.
Wow. Well, fingers crossed that it doesn't snow for you. So, the reason we're connecting today was because I wanted to interview you, if you will, regarding learning the SCHH technique, which is my technique. So
With pleasure.
we both started off, didn't we, practicing QHHT. And when I began doing my courses, you came on my course. So the first question that I want to ask you is, what did you think about the manual and the 24 pre-recorded videos?
Laura, your manual and your pre-recorded videos are absolutely brilliant. And it trains one, we are basically practitioners trained in SCHH now. And with all the information that you've given us, I will say, as an SCHH practitioner, we are trained to deal with the most grueling situations that can possibly happen in a session. So people need to also understand, it's like some people come with no baggage. A person can come with a lot of baggage, and we know how to deal with all their baggage.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things, isn't it? When you first start doing this, you don't realize how complex some clients actually can be. And there's lots and lots and lots of different things that you need to be looking out for. To start off with, you need to have an idea of how to help them to deal with trauma from this life. Because if they've not dealt with that trauma, you're not going to be able to get them into a past life. They just won't go.
I absolutely agree.
And then you've got the complexities of dealing with that trauma. Sometimes if your client's got a grief block, they need to deal with that. And obviously, if they come to the session with entities attached, energy attachments, different entities, earthbound spirits, some of the darker ones, the session itself, you will not be able to progress that client into a past life regression situation or another part of their multidimensional self within the quantum space, unless you remove those energies first. And so that's what the SCHH technique teaches you. It teaches you how to deal with all of the other stuff and make sure that all of those layers of the onion, if you will, are peeled off, so we can get right down to then taking the client on their absolute soul journey through the quantum space, looking at the different lives or different parts of their multidimensional self. And they can have a really deep and connected experience. Because if they still have trauma blocks and grief blocks and entity blocks, they're not going to be able to connect in that deep way.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And also clients need to understand that depending on how many layers of the onion need to be peeled away from them, they're going to need more than one session. To peel away those layers, you need a minimum of 3 sessions to start getting to the core of and letting go. Because actually with your technique, what really happens is people are being stripped away of all the stuff that they don't need, all that extra baggage. And it leaves them their pure natural self, which enables them to have just naturally have more joy and love and fun in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. And then they are left with what is truly them. So it takes away all of the other stuff that they've gathered together whilst being on planet Earth. It takes away all of that stuff. And then once you've taken away the trauma from this lifetime, you've dealt with the entity attachments that have attached due to the trauma that they've incurred in this lifetime. Once you've helped them find peace with who they are currently, then when they travel into that quantum space, oh my goodness, the powerful sessions that you can have are just absolutely incredible. And so the next question I would like to ask you is the actual 3 live training days that you came on. How did you find those?
It was very exciting. And it was so lovely to be in the company of like-minded people. And everybody really enjoyed themselves on the course. You could see that they were growing exponentially. And we did like a live session, if you will. And it was also absolutely awesome. The session that we did was a textbook session. So that was very good. And yeah, and it just made my heart feel very happy to be a part of it. And these live sessions are bespoke for the times that we're in. So it's high vibrational energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And how have you found having that connection carry on after the course? So there's a Telegram group and I'll send emails out to everybody for their continuous learning. How have you found that feeling of connectedness after doing the live sessions?
It's absolutely fantastic. And I've now done sessions with 3 different people on the course. One person wasn't even on our course. He was on a previous course on Telegram. And all the sessions have been amazing. And what we've also been told during the sessions is that the practitioners have to keep on practicing on each other, practicing on themselves, to stay on top of things in the times that we now find ourselves in is very important. So it's invaluable, the live training.
How have you found it now you've been using the S.C.H.H technique in terms of identifying entities? And what are the types of things that you've come across whilst you've been doing that?
Well, it's amazing because the entities will show themselves. I think some of them even know them from the night before they're going to be in a session the next day, and that they need to start packing their bags and they leave. I've even had a client that the entity didn't want to leave, and the helpers that came to help and assist actually chiseled it out.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. On the first course that I ran, so it was group number 1, there was a goblin attached to one of the well, it was the person who volunteered to do the live session, and they would not leave, and they were literally hanging on to the jaw of the client. And in the end, the archangels just came in and they just took it. And so there's nothing to be fearful around that. It's not just you that's having to do the work. And that's a very important thing that I would say about SCHH. You're working with a team. So you're working with the team of archangels and ascended masters as well as you. And together as a team, we all work to help the client.
Well, I'll tell you something interesting that happened. A friend of mine asked if she can do a surrogate session for her son that's living in another country. So I gave permission, because you can't work on people without permission. So in her session, we did a surrogate session, actually tuning into his energy field. And we pulled out an entity that was in his brain.
Wow.
And ever since that session, she hasn't seen him because he's actually living in South Africa and she's in the UK. And she said he doesn't scream as much when he phones. He's got a different attitude. Obviously, there's more to go and we're going to work on it. But his whole vibe's changed. She said it's noticeably. It's amazing.
And you've come across many entities, haven't you, since you've been using this technique? How have you found that?
Well, it always seems to take one by surprise, you know.
It totally does, doesn't it? Even if you think you're going to be prepared for an entity, you're never truly prepared, are you, until you're in the moment. And then something just takes over, you know, because we're all hooked into our own higher selves. We're all parts of the team, you know, the archangels, the ascended masters. So we're like a part of them working in this dimension with other parts of ourselves that are working in the higher dimensions to remove these entities. And it's just so powerful. What are the kinds of things that you've come across since you've been using this technique?
Removing entities. I had one removed myself and was like a vile creature. And when it was speaking, Derek wanted to laugh, and the other side of me was wanting to be serious about it. And this thing was really violent, really talking back, but it actually said, "Oh, you want me to go into the light?" And in a very nasty way.
Yeah.
And it left eventually for the light, which is important. So these entities aren't left sort of hanging around somebody's body or energy field or in the house. They're actually taken by the team, the angelic team, if you will, and removed up into the higher light to be released themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
So they can find joy. Some of them are actually people that might have been in an accident or died suddenly, and with the trauma and everything, they've latched onto a lovely person sort of walking by, and it affects them badly.
Exactly. And on the courses, we've had many messages come through now from Yeshua. Both times, actually, both messages have come through different people on different courses from Yeshua, telling us how important it is that we do this work, how so important it is in terms of not only are you helping the client, but you're also, when you're removing the entity from the client, you are in transitioning them into the light, that there's a great power and alchemy around that, in turning that darkness into light, in flipping it from dark to light. So every time we work with somebody and we take an entity off, we flip their energy from dark to light, and then we send them with the archangels, and the archangels take them and provide them with healing in the higher realms. Every time we do that, we're raising the energy of the entire planet. So incrementally, each client we work with, we're raising the vibration of the collective as a whole. We're stripping away those layers of density, of darkness. And if there's many of us doing this work, then just imagine how quickly we will be raising the vibration of the planet. We are literally the cleanup crew. We're the cleanup crew. We're taking away the layers of darkness and density that's been holding the light workers down, that's been keeping the light workers, you know, because many light workers will attract entities because the two go hand in hand. Where there's a really bright light, you will always find the darkness trying to squash it. And also with the light workers and the star seeds, many of them are such highly evolved beings, highly evolved consciousness, that they feel things so deeply, that they become hurt so easily. And when you incur a massive trauma, it affects the energy centers within the body, which then causes that fracture that comes out, which then impacts the aura, which is how these energies are able to attach and come in and gradually become more and more powerful. So the message from Yeshua is, those of us that are attracted to this work, the SCHH work in particular, we are the team, we are the cleanup crew. And Yeshua referred to us as the anointed ones and said, please, if you feel in your heart that this is something that compels you, you know, you want to be a part of this, please do it, because it is the most important work that can be completed on planet Earth at this time, in stripping away the layers of density, the entities, and transitioning them over. And also helping your client to heal from the layers of trauma that they've incurred from this lifetime, any grief of losing their loved ones. Once you've done that, when you then take them into the quantum space and do the past life regression healing with them, it is so powerful. And they will see their, you know, their most pertinent lifetimes. And once they've worked through those, the lifetimes that are very, very key in terms of karmic cycles or karmic redress, they'll then always go into their favorite lifetimes, you know, the favorite galactic lifetimes that we lived in for years, hundreds, thousands of years, where we were so powerful. And then we decided to come here and help out.
What happens really is that you've shown different lives that you've lived, whether it's on this earth or other planets or other universes, wherever it's most relevant. But what it really does to the client is help them to understand, oh, I can now understand that part of my personality because I know where it comes from. Oh, I now understand that other part of me because I'm now aware of where it comes from and I can actually see it. So you begin to actually understand yourself better and know what is actually coming to your personality and where it comes from.
It gives
which
you,
actually then boils down to your interests, your hobbies and everything.
yeah, it gives you your power, doesn't it? It gives you your power back because you then understand the absolute fullness of your soul. You understand all of the things that potentially were baffling to you or that you didn't like about yourself in this lifetime. And you begin to understand the journey that your soul has been on. And so if you do suffer from low self-esteem or there's parts of you that you don't like in this lifetime, the depth of healing that can be achieved when you start to realize why those things are is just absolutely incredible. And I mean, as you know, I've been practicing quantum healing for a long time. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist as well. So I've used past life regression for a long time. But I've had my most powerful sessions using this technique because it is not just past life regression. And that's the important thing to note about this technique. It's not just past life regression or quantum healing. It is various different types of healing that we go through as a process to completely regenerate, rejuvenate that person's soul and connect them back into who they really are.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I did a session for a friend of mine and she found herself, she was taken to maybe 10 years ago, whenever, and a scene in the friend's garden. That sounds like they had an amazing garden with a swimming pool and a bowling green. And I said, I asked, why have you taken her to this garden? No, she needs to be reminded of the happiness and the fun and the joy that she used to that she used to experience and somehow sort of dwindled away. And in that session, the joy and the fun and the happiness that was a part of her was re-merged into her energy field, so she could start feeling that again, which she was out of touch with.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It helps people. It helps people deal with so much trauma and emotions and, you know, things that they've not been able to cope with or get over. And then the two come hand in hand. So you deal with the trauma first, which, say, for example, it's somebody as a child whose parents got divorced and it really, really affected them. So you deal with that trauma first, help them to begin the healing process around that trapped emotion. And this is what it's all about. It's all about having emotions within our bodies that are trapped. We've not released them. We've not dealt with them. We've not been encouraged to deal with them. And then those emotions then go on to cause physical problems within the body. So with this technique,
I'll also add to it, also what's happening in this technique with the S.C.H.H technique is that one needs to understand that karma just isn't something that's created outside of yourself. It's all created in the mind. And whether it's this lifetime or another lifetime, your karma is created inside of yourself, in the mind. And I'm seeing in the sessions that I've done that the mind is being healed and cleared as well in the S.C.H.H method.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know
Absolutely.
if I can say it better than that. So it's healing the mind, which is huge. It's massive.
Yeah, it is. And once you get people past those traumas and you give them permission, you give them a safe and compassionate space to look at those, and then they've incurred an entity. They've had an entity attachment attached to them because that original trauma has impacted one of their chakras, one of their energy centers, which has then caused a fracture, which has impacted the aura. So they've attracted an energy which has basically been attached to them, using them as a battery. And that can be earthbound spirits. So it can be people that were once human. They once had a human body. They died very tragically. They didn't realize they were dead. They've ended up roaming around. They've walked up to somebody that looks quite nice because they've got a lot of light, and then they've become attached to them. Or it can be some of the darker, more sinister energies that are literally sent with the purpose of attaching specifically to light workers and starseeds to hold down their light, to keep their light suppressed. And so once you've dealt with the trauma, you then move on to taking off the entities, turning their energy from dark to light, sending them across into the higher realms with the archangels and the ascended masters. Some of the archangels stay and begin the healing process on the client's body. And then once you've done all of that, you can then take them into a past life regression or a quantum, travel to another part of their multidimensional self. And you get the most incredible sessions. If you've got clients that can channel and have got a part of themselves that will come through, after you've done the S.C.H.H technique first and dealt with all of the trauma, the entities, the client's frequency will rise so high that then that client that channels, you will have the absolute best session, because the connectivity that you can get between those two parts is just incredible. So tell me more about the types of healing that you've seen using this technique.
Well, a lot of people, the one client that I had was dealing with heartache and heart pain from, from basically living his life. And it was never addressed, that the sadness that he's experienced inside of himself. And maybe he wasn't even really aware of it before, because he never spoke about it before the session. But in the session, it came up that there was heartache and there was pain in his heart. So we started, his higher self started working on the heart, clearing all the channels there. And lo and behold, there was an entity in the heart that was making him feel sad and giving him pain there. And it was removed. So, I mean, it's just huge what's actually happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? And in terms of the technique itself, because you've used other techniques, in terms of the depth that you can get the client into to have the sessions, have you noticed a difference with the depth of the technique?
Yes, because the SCHH is designed to get people into a very deep state of relaxation and into hypnosis. So even if they're worried that they're not going to go into hypnosis, or there's a bit of fear, or their mind's wandering elsewhere, they will actually be put under, and we will get results. So it's absolutely fantastic technique as far as that's concerned. And no one needs to worry or panic. They will go under. There is nothing to fear.
Exactly. I've never had it fail. I've never had it fail. Because the technique as well, I've written it in such a way whereby if they're not in by the garden, and obviously this is not going to mean much to people that haven't trained in it yet, but there's 2 places in my technique where a person can, well, there's 10 places actually, but the 2 main places are in the garden or in a crystal cavern. And so if they're not in a past life by the garden, we then take them down another series of stairs, which is another deepener, stone stairs, which are very connected in terms of past lives, into a very high frequency crystal cavern, and I've never had it fail where I've had to do something else, because it's so powerful. And because of the deep relaxation that's at the beginning of the technique, the relaxation of the body, the relaxation of the eyes that's then taken down the body, the relaxation of the mind, and then another deepener, and then taking them down into the garden. By that point, the client is absolutely in the theta state they're in. And if they're still a bit unsure, by the time you take them down the second set of steps and into the crystal cavern, they're just completely in.
That hasn't failed me either.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So if you were giving a final message to anybody that has been thinking about training in this technique, and if you do want to book on to the next course, if you go to www.schhhofficial.com, you can book on there. If you were to give a final message to anybody that was going to book onto the course and to utilize this technique as somebody who has had an experience of using past life regression and is now using this technique, what would you say to them?
Definitely do the course. It is amazing. And also, Laura gives invaluable information on how to do the hypnosis sessions online, so that you're fully equipped with the knowledge and the understanding how to do an online session. One thinks one can just go online and do it, but there's so much more involved to it that meets the eye, that training in how to do a proper online session, and that it's going to be 100% successful. And there's nothing for the practitioner to worry about. There's nothing for the client to concern themselves about. Is extremely, extremely important. So that's very important, extremely valuable, invaluable training that's actually explained and given to you. And even for that alone, it's definitely worth the training on how to do online sessions 100% successfully. And then, of course, the S.C.H.H is bespoke for the times, and it's all about the energy. It's high vibrational energy. You're working with high vibrational group of angelic teams that are there to assist you, help you, and help your client. You will have 100% success, even if you've never done a session in your life before. It is truly amazing, and I say, go for it. Go for gold.
Oh, Derek, thank you so much. And if there's anybody watching this who is both based in South Africa, so would like to come and see you for a face-to-face session, but would also like to see you, if there's anyone else that would also like to see you for an online session, because you can do both, how do they need to contact you?
It's Derek, D-E-R-E-K-M, it's Derek, D-E-R-E-K, or lowercase letters, M-M, 8 as in the figure 8, at gmail.com, or they can get it from Laura.
Yeah, they can get it from me as well. Yeah. And Derek is going to actually be listed on my website as well soon, along with all of the practitioners that are ready in terms of practitioners that are trained in the S.C.H.H technique. Derek, it's been absolutely amazing to chat to you today. Whilst I've got you, is there anything else that you want to share in terms of the sessions that you've been having recently, and anything about Ascension or what's going on the planet? Anything of interest?
Well, what everybody that has a session wants to know about that event. They want to know about the shift, and what's come through in the sessions is that we're in the middle of the shift right now, and the actual so-called event shift, it's all about timing, and the time has to be right. It has to be absolutely perfect. And for everybody it's different where they're shifting to, where they're going. But what I do understand is that there are cities of light, call it that, and places beyond Earth that are being made available to take place, people off the Earth, because we don't really know what's going to happen here. Some people say that we're staying on the Earth. Other people say that we're not. Well, both is true. Some people will be staying here. and other people will be leaving. And that's part of the shift in the energy. So it's a big adventure, and as adventures, things happen by surprise. So let's wait for the big surprise.
Absolutely. And it really does feel at the moment like there's something building energetically. It feels to me and to other people that I've spoken to like we're building up to something. And I don't know if this is the same for you, Derek, but I've been getting so many like ascension symptoms really intensely now, whereas before it was just like, you know, bits and bobs. Now it's just wow. And the energy, sometimes when I'm sat still, I can feel the energy running through my body. I can feel my body vibrating, particularly at night time when I'm going to sleep.
Well, you're being upgraded, you know, we're being at night when we're going to sleep, we're actually going back to school. We're being trained for what's going to happen, and you can wake up more exhausted than when you went to bed.
Just a bit. In fact, today I think was the first time that I woke up and I didn't feel just to the bone weary. And yeah, I got a bit of a lay-in this morning. I don't know what happened there, but when I got up, my husband had got the kids in a different room. He'd got up with the kids, you know, he was doing stuff with them, and they'd kind of left me to have a sleep. And I felt really good when I woke up this morning, but that's the first time for a long time. And sometimes you'll wake up in the night and you'll feel that there's like a current being run down the body. All sorts of things going on, isn't there?
Absolutely. We're preparing for what's to come, but the important thing is that if you're involved with something and you do the Lara's course, is you then become part of a tribe, and the tribe energy is about all working together, but at the same time we're all living our own individual lives, and the energy is brought through where we all join together on a completely different level. So it's not just about doing the course, it's so much more than that.
Oh, thank you, Derek. Well, it's been absolutely amazing to see you today. It's been lovely to see you. And thank you so much for allowing me to interview you about my new technique. Because obviously I have only just started training other people in it. Up to this point, it was just me that would practice it myself. Whereas now I've opened it out and I'm training other people, because I've been given the heads up that now is the time to amass the huge group of people that are going to go out there all over the world and alchemize these dark energies that have been pervading, that have been controlling people, that have been here behind the scenes all this time, and we haven't really known about them. Well, now we do know about them, and we have a technique in place where we can find them, locate them, and take them off, alchemize them towards the light, and send them back towards the light. So we're raising the vibration of the planet one client at a time. So it's been amazing to speak to you today, Derek, and I will see you again soon.
It's always lovely to connect with you, Lara, and thank you for everything that you've done for us and for the course, and bringing your knowledge and your abilities and to us. And I really like to thank you, and it's always beautiful to see your smiling face full of love and energy shining out.
Bless you, Derek. Thank you so much. I'll see you again soon, my love.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.